My parents moved from Washington County to Houston, the northwest side, Acres Home, in 1954, the year in which I was born. Graduated from Klein High School, and then went on to University of Houston. Debated there for 2 years, and then served as Speaker of the Student Senate. Got accepted at Harvard, and went to Harvard for 3 years before coming back to the city of Houston. I come out of a family very modest means. Neither one of the parents graduated from high school. I don't say that in a negative sense. My dad died early when I was 13. My mom was a maid at the old Rice Hotel, and quite frankly, did one heck of a job at rearing 9 kids. I remembered walking down Maine, Louisiana, Travis, looking at all the tall buildings and the people going in and out of those buildings. And I said, one of these days, I wanted to be in one of those buildings. And so, quite frankly, when I was in law school, Fulbright and Jaworski came to Harvard. They were talking to me, and I asked them where were they located. They said they were located in the Bank of the Southwest building in the heart of downtown Houston. Well, for me, that clinched the deal. And, I came back to Houston in 1980, working at Fulbright and Jaworski. But in 1984, the position on the Harris County Commissioner's Court became available, Precinct 1. They had redrawn the lines, and I looked at that position because in growing up riding the bus with my mom, taking my brother, who suffered with intellectual disabilities, it would say to my mom, is that there's no a space available, beds available, so to speak, and then riding back on that bus, I would say to myself, it's hell to be poor. And that if I ever had an opportunity to weigh in or have any impact on the healthcare delivery services, especially as it relates to mental health, that I was going to do my part. Several years later, and people asked about whether I was going to run for mayor, and so I ran in '91 and fell short. I ran again in 2003. And in 2003, there were only 3 persons in the race, only 3. The second time, there were 3, and I was number 3. And I decided to go a third time. And it was the third time that happened to be the time. The American Leadership Forum, in Class 20 in particular, we shared stories, some very personal stories with one another. We climbed up the mountain with one another. We rappelled off the cliff, together. And hell, I'm from Acres Home. I ain't never rappelled off of anything, But I didn't want to do it. I stood on the edge of that cliff. But when I got past my fear and I jumped, as I went down the cliff, my fear started to subside. And what I've said many, many times, learning from that experience in ALF, what I've said to students and others, that if you can get past your fear, you can start to make progress. But fear, if you allow it to take hold, will paralyze you where you are, and you'll never move past it. We're living through some very challenging times. And if leadership mattered, it matters now quite a bit. There's never a wrong time to do the right thing for the right reason. And I think one question that you asked, and one question that I try to keep at the very front, and that is, for example, what's in the best interest of this city? That is the question that you have to ask and answer. What is in the best interest of this city? And quite frankly, I count it as a blessing to have been given the opportunity by the people in this city to serve at such a time as this. It's a very distinct honor when other leaders, recognize you. Well, let me just say this to the American Leadership Forum. Thank you.